From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hello, it's me, Caroline Gant, again.
Hello, it's me, Austin Lowen, again.
Hey, it's Tyler. What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Spring,
and Austin's birthday.
Hey, there it is. Didn't know if you were going to say that or not.
Of
Happy
course I'm going to
birthday.
say that.
Thank you. 35 years young.
Yes,
still
you are.
spry. It's busy out here. I'm feeling good.
You're a spring baby,
So-
just like me.
Thank you. And Tyler.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, we all are.
Yeah. We were meant for that.
We were.
Of course, we're plant people. That's what it is. So
You're the ham
it.
in between me and Tyler's sandwich. We're the bread on either end of that birthday.
really, really prefer turkey, but
No,
okay.
you're the ham.
Okay.
Because you're
I am
such a ham.
Yeah, okay,
Oh.
great. Let's go with it.
Let's go with it. Let's go with talking about what is happening in our beds right now, on our properties, in our yards.
Well, it's happening. That's kind of the thing. The spring wake up.
It is. I walk outside and the color is just like,
Color is great.
I want to eat it all.
But also just new fresh leaves. Like, let's just give a shout out to new fresh leaves. I know it's not flower power, it's not color like I'm loving, but when the new leaves emerge, they're just so crisp and green and clean. I love it.
Yeah, it's the best. Like all my hosta,
Yes,
so
hosta's
clean right
great.
now because they love this weather. Soon they'll just look really sad and gross, and they'll have holes and they'll be burned. But
Not that soon.
not that soon. It'll
What do
probably
you
be
plant
like
them in sun?
no. But towards the end of summer with all the heat, they don't look as good as they do right now. Right now they're so clean. I mean, we're feeling like Michigan right now, so we're looking great. But I'm obsessed with my hosta.
I know. Hosta, I've said it before, but hosta is the boxwood of the perennial world.
I've never heard you say that, but that's fantastic.
It is. It's what it is. It is green space filler, clean and green. Eat up some space, put them flowers around it. That's what you want from hosta.
What you want. Listen, I put these big giant rocks that I found all over my property, kind of scatter them in my hosta heuchera bed. Pansies go in the winter. I'm about to rip them out.
Cute.
Those ostrich ferns are poking up and getting tall.
Tyler,
Tyler.
Yes.
you're not talking, and I want to know about your blackberry. Is it huge and leafing?
Which blackberry?
The big one you had.
How many do you have?
Don't you have like 3?
I cut it down.
You cut it way back.
Oh, it's down. I dug it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. It was in the pathway. It was grabbing you, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it would be cool. Well, I did have a trellis around it for a little while, and then that went kaput. But we actually moved a couple different ones to different areas. So there's one that's popping up along the back of my fence in my backyard near my wisteria. And then there's still some that are popping up where we ripped it out.
Yeah.
Because you guys said you're never going to get rid of that. Well, so far that's true.
Yes.
yeah. It'll never be gone.
And then there's another one that's in the middle of my front yard that we stuck in like this wild bed that I put there, and it's also green. I can't remember if it's budding up, but I think it should be now.
Oh yeah. You would
know.
think.
Yeah.
I know. Funny you say that, like not being able to get rid of it. So the power company came. We had these power lines on our property line, and like on the line, and they had to use one of those awesome like just vegetation destroyer machines, like on a skid steer, the front of it. You know, like the
that the
deal
big
that just
drum?
eats everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just can clear woods. I mean, like very very fast. It was very efficient. It was fun to watch. I was off that day, and I was just watching. I'm like, this is chaos. It's epic. Just taking out trees, just eating them. It was sweet. But anyway, when my wife got home, she was like, oh my God, they took out all the blackberries. And she was like so upset because the most of that side yard was full of just rambling wild blackberries. I said, don't you dare worry about them blackberries. They are so thick and so strong now, y'all. Like they came back like almost triple as good because of that just haircut. So there you go.
Yeah.
Blackberries.
I have to keep on top of it or it'll just explode.
Yeah. I've got them all over the back of my property.
I know, me
we
too.
get them mowed down, they come right back up.
Yeah.
And the deer and the birds love them.
One big spring cleaning project that I did take care of just the other day. I finally got all my citrus moved out of my greenhouse, sprayed them down, and sprayed them up with this product that Caroline told me about, which is like Bond Neem. And I think it's going to do the trick.
I think so.
Getting rid of
Usually
I plucked off a lot of scale. Sarah helped me just pick off little bugs and mealy bugs.
So did you have scale, mealybugs, and spider mites? You had
Yeah, the
Tyler. Wow.
I think
The gauntlet.
I think the big vector, like patient 0, was my Barbie pink guava. And when I brought her in, and then also a Persian lime, I got both of them last year. And I think that it was just a tiny problem that snowballed.
Yeah.
And then in my
That's
greenhouse,
what
it was
always happens.
in my greenhouse, I'd never seen the nastiest scale in my life. It basically looked like chunks of perlite.
Oh,
vermiculite.
I know
that one with the red center.
Yep. They're kind of cool, though.
They are
If you
so
put them under a
cool.
scope, they look like some kind of Mario Kart thing.
They do. They look like a shell, but they're so gross. So I had cut everything back last year a little bit in a kind of frantic mood, and it came back, but it was still just invested. And so now with the spray, hosing them down, and they're all out of the greenhouse right now.
They're going to be so happy and healthy.
They are already looking healthy. And
Glad you got to it.
Yeah, my lime bloomed and has fruited. My navel aborted fruit again this year. Like it blooms, set fruit, and then almost all the fruit.
Oh, they do that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the lime, really good fruit set. And even with hosing it down and everything, it's held on to a lot of it. So I'm looking forward to hopefully having some limes.
Well, nice.
Yes.
So that was a huge project.
That sounds like it, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we're all into garden projects right now.
I even had to start mowing the grass.
That's what I'm saying. I mowed the grass too.
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of weeding
That's a good chore.
and
to
weed
get
eating.
done.
I did not weed whack any of my stuff.
Nice.
One
For
of the
once.
worst things
Hey,
about
I never weed whack anything.
Oh, yeah, that's Tyler.
Yeah,
in
that
the
is
group.
Tyler.
yes, and you'll hear on the show that they singled me out. Caroline singled me out a lot.
Multiple times, but I did edit some of it out, so you don't hear quite as much. But if you want to hear more about what Tyler weed whacked down in his
Watch the raw
landscaping,
live.
watch the raw live footage.
Yeah.
We talk about it.
Yeah, I actually the clematis that I mowed over last year is up and growing. No blooms yet, but it's also not in an ideal location. I probably need to transplant it.
Maybe move it.
Yeah, because it's in most.
Well, now's the time to do it. But let's go ahead and get into this week's broadcast. You'll hear Josh Carey, David Bates, the other voices, as well as us.
Tropical plants in yesterday, did
Yes, we
not?
did. We got round 2.
We got the
of our big
mandevillas
tropical.
and so some really incredible looking.
Bougainvilleas and the mandevilleas.
All those fun words to say, Josh.
Those purple palm trees are gorgeous. The ones that you got last
Purple
week.
palm
They were
Those are bananas.
Bananas.
bananas, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
One of these
They're
things
huge.
is not like the other. Which one is not the
I mean, they're both
horticulturalist?
tropical, so,
Yes, so
I
that's
get where you're
close, that's
coming
close.
from.
Bananas
Yeah.
grow on a palm tree, right?
You know what? Let's go ahead and get to questions.
Yeah,
My
that-
brain hurts.
Yeah.
That was a
might be-
question.
You never know. That might be one of the questions in there.
That's true, but we'll have to find out by getting to them now.
Okay.
So our first question, I would say, is probably the hardest question we've ever gotten.
Uh-oh.
Are you guys ready?
I guess. I don't know. I'm scared.
What's your favorite flower?
Oh, Lord. Well,
That one is hard.
that is
I have
very
a
hard.
lot.
How do you narrow it down to a single
I don't
choice?
know if I can.
Favorite flower? I know I can.
Baptisia?
No.
Really?
Petunias.
Oh, duh.
Of course. I love petunias. Good old petunias. Can't beat it. That's mine.
That's really your favorite flower out of all the flowers in the whole wide world.
It is.
Okay.
It
cool.
is. I love them.
Huh.
Yeah, what? Y'all speechless?
I'm speechless on what mine is.
Yeah, I'm going to go a different direction altogether. I'm
Okay.
going to say, and this is a plant that you will only find tropically used. So that would be clivia. I really like it. That is
Oh.
a bright orange
Yeah.
flower. It is a beautiful. It's actually a bulb type plant, but it's really a Mediterranean type of plant. So you could find it in containers that are out during the growing season, but it's beautiful, bright orange clusters. I really like clivia a lot.
I've got one of those. I keep it as a house plant.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, it's a good low light house plant.
For me, it'd be wisteria, probably.
Okay.
Hmm.
I can dig that.
It has nothing smells better when they're fully blown up. But I'm kind of zinnias are kind of coming in there really hard on me. now.
Yuck. Josh.
Is that your vote, Caroline?
I still don't know what mine is. I do
come
love
on.
them. They're up there. They're on
Maybe-
up there.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll strike you sometime during the broadcast.
It might.
It'll come
My
through.
brain is going through all of these that I love, but it depends on what time of year. I
Or day.
can't. Or day, or what my mood is.
Okay.
Or what's in my brain.
Okay, I get it. Tyler, what about you, buddy?
What I'm going to tell you is probably not going to be true because I'm just trying to dig up information as well. And I think I'm probably going to go with our native passion flower just because I
know
love
you
the
love it.
smell
Good one.
and I love the look of it and I love watching bees on it.
And he is a passionate kind of guy.
Yes, he is.
There you
Tyler
go.
is full of passion.
Personality acquired.
I will
Yeah.
say that is one of the coolest flowers on the planet.
Yeah.
It really
looks
is.
like
It's
an
Most
alien.
unique
alien.
for sure, yeah, and one of the most unique anyway.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's a good choice, Tyler. Good work.
Good work.
Caroline,
Yeah.
we're still waiting. So.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm all about my Carefree Wonder Rose right now, but I wouldn't say that's my favorite flower. But that's what's in my brain because that is the best rose in the whole wide world. Miriam knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I transplanted mine into a pot a couple weeks ago and then I stuck it in the ground on Monday. So hopefully it's in its permanent home now.
Okay.
I'll think of some stuff. Hey, our next question does have to do with one of Austin's favorite flowers.
Okay.
What do you think it is? He can't guess.
I don't know.
Dahlias.
Dahlias. Okay.
Do you really have to dig them up every fall?
To ensure that you get dahlias the next year, then yes, you should probably lift them because they're right on the edge of hardiness here. You can get lucky. You can get lucky. They can be on a brick wall on a western exposure and maybe come back. But it really helps you out if you lift them and bring them in and then just replant them every year.
because they are expensive too.
They are
boys and
expensive.
girls, so.
They
Yeah.
are. But they are worth every dime.
It's what my grandmother started growing. The very first thing she started producing for sale was cut dahlias.
Oh, yeah.
So
You just can't beat them. I mean, that's
They're
up there
gorgeous.
too. Okay. They're right behind petunias.
See, how did you not guess that?
He's already flip flop.
Yeah,
I didn't flip flop. I said it was right behind.
right behind him.
Okay.
I say I got to jump in here and say that I planted like 6 Aldi just cheap dahlias and I didn't do anything. I just left them in the ground over winter. 3 came back.
Wow.
Then I left those in the ground over winter. 1 came back.
Okay.
So I think you can do the math here that your odds are about 50-50.
It's a half life.
Yeah, that's right.
We see the
So-
trend. So yeah, just lift them. You'll
And bless you for rescuing them from Aldi.
yeah.
Yeah, Aldi has
They were cute
dogwoods
and
right
cheap.
now. Yeah,
You get
Aldi
mulch at the
dogwoods.
mini
Aldi
market.
dogwoods.
Hey, man.
I love Aldi.
There's a whole lot of places that like to pass themselves off as a garden center this time of year. So, good luck with that.
Well, they were single color. They were not as fancy as the ones that we have here or that can be found at true garden centers.
Oh yeah,
I'm
definitely.
sure they
not.
were organic if they.
We got more.
I mean,
Probably not. And their plants are okay. But let's go ahead and move on.
Yes,
Someone
we
is
need to.
asking, can hellebore take full sun? I don't
Negative.
think so.
You don't want it.
Mine loves full shade.
Full morning sun.
Josh, you grow hellebore. in the shade.
and I have a line of them, the highway to Hellebore, and out there at on the far end from this way, it got more sun. That one got smoked. All the rest of them in the line, it's really weird. I'm talking 2 feet, the amount of sunshine on them. So,
It's just
there you
it's
go.
just a classic
yep.
shade plant.
And it
really
stays
is.
up. Mine's been blooming for like a month now.
I know.
And they're still up and looking gorgeous. Like they're not starting to go to sleep at all.
Yep.
They
Plant
don't
some
know.
hellebore. Don't plant them in full sun.
There you go.
All right, we did get a question about Austin's favorite flower. So here we go.
Petunias?
Yes. Already? What? I left some petunias in the ground from last year and they came back flowering. Is this normal?
No, not necessarily too normal. I plant petunias every year. I don't really see them return, but it can happen. Obviously, it's happening to you. And it might have happened from seed. But honestly, petunias, that's another reason why I like them is that they're very, very cold hardy. And even when they're up and blooming, if it gets down even below freezing, they don't get really touched by that.
And you
So-
know why this year it's more likely is that we had that 8 inches of snow cover over the top of them, and they got insulated throughout the worst of the cold that week in mid-January when we had all of that, when the coldest weather came. And I've seen wave petunias do it fairly regularly, particularly in milder winter. So, yep.
Hey, awesome.
Yes,
Good work.
yeah.
You had petunias come back. My favorite flower.
Yep.
Great.
You love that one.
I
We'll
do.
hear all about it soon once he plants his. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our next question. There must have been a photo or something in Southern Living about this plant because I've had a couple people come into the nursery in the last week or two asking this exact same question. Is it possible to grow creeping fig on a concrete porch? I know they're slightly out of our zone, which is zone 7. Yes, it's not going to overwinter here, I don't think. I mean,
But all summer long,
you
can
could grow it over the
Mm-hmm.
summer, yes, but I don't think it's going to survive our winter.
Why would we want to put it on the concrete though?
So a lot of people are asking about it, like growing up walls
Okay.
on their house. Like I
Okay.
said, there must have been a Southern Living or some kind of article or photo that had that in there.
Okay.
But it is a really pretty plant if you're in like, Savannah, Georgia or something where it will overwinter and keep growing. But here,
If you've got to have a vine in a container, I think Caroline will back me up on this one.
oh, I know where you're going.
Big Nonia would be a really good choice, and it's evergreen.
Yeah,
So
it's gorgeous. And it flowers.
And it's
like,
mud. Since it's a native, it's a lot more winter hardy. So
Mm-hmm.
Does the creeping fig it self clings though? Doesn't it?
It
Isn't that
does,
why
yeah.
people like it because
Yeah,
it really
'cause it'll-
attaches itself?
and grow up.
it
as
clings
well.
until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Till-
At death.
Until it clings on for life.
Put Downy in
That's
the
right.
washer, it doesn't cling. But
Maybe you could bury heat cables in the wall.
there you go.
That's not a bad idea, I guess, if you really want to work for it.
Hey, you never know.
I'd be careful with
cost me
anything that
$200
clings
to
to the
keep it.
house. It kind of intimidates me because you've seen them where they get up underneath the siding and then you'll have it here and then it'll come out the other end.
Yeah.
So be careful with
My,
anything you put on the house.
My non-native passion flower that I hate with the passion does that.
Yeah.
Grows under the siding.
There's all
and
kinds
up.
of reason it's named that.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a live question from Gary. He says, "I planted crimson clover in the garden very late last fall. It didn't do much over the winter, but it's now about a foot tall. Should I till it in?"
I mean, I would give it a little bit more
Yeah.
time, probably. I mean, let it keep on fixing nitrogen.
I'll just say that, that's basically what it's doing right now. And I think I've grown crimson clover a couple of years in a row. And you want to wait until,
The flowers pass.
until
Yes.
the flowers have pretty much done their blooming, but before they set seed.
Yeah.
And
And
then
you get
till
to
it in there.
enjoy them.
And the bees do too.
Gorgeous.
I mean, they
Bees.
will bring the bees to the
Absolutely
yard.
the bees hum.
Yeah,
crimson
it's
clover.
incredible.
You can hear it. Like it's insane. So yeah, let them go to bloom.
Let them go to bloom. All right, best low maintenance flower to fill large space along a fence line.
Wave petunias.
Zinnias.
I knew you'd say zinnias. That is a good one because you just drop seed in a massive
and it
area.
reseeds
And
itself
reseeds.
every year. You can lay more if you want it to be like a dense flower patch.
Yes,
You're going to have
rutabaga,
so
too.
many butterflies that are going to be coming out there.
Yep, like Tyler said, black-eyed Susan. Oh, what's that other one?
Which
Well,
one?
I
There's
tell
so
you,
many.
Coneflower, purple coneflower. That would work.
Coneflower, yeah.
People who
perennials.
planted pansies or violas in the fall, they kind of only subsist during the winter. They're not all that striking, but now they are. And
Oh, yeah.
the most difficult of gardening decisions arrives about the middle of May when they're just absolutely stunning, and you have to pull them out. So they
gotta
are
go.
really, you got another month or more here of where to really enjoy those if you wish, but you will be at the point if you do have those that you got to dig them up. I always recommend getting some old plastic nursery pots and digging them up and potting them and giving them away as gifts or setting them around the patio.
It's a fantastic idea. You know what you could do with this, though? Just scatter a bunch of different seeds.
Start
You'll
a
have
wildflower
different
bed.
bloom time, a lot of different perennials. Watch my wildflower gardening webinar that we've got. But yeah, if you're looking for just a lot of flowers and something to cover a fence line, why not go wild and do a lot of different types?
And leave your string trimmer in the shed,
Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
Tyler.
What? What? Did I do something bad?
He said something about a string trimmer. I know you like to whack some plants down from time to time.
No. I mean,
You don't
I didn't
like
say
to.
anything.
No, we've got him confused with somebody
With
else.
someone else. What's going on? Hey, let's talk about vines. Best climbing flowering vine that is cold hardy and will give coverage for privacy. We have already talked about it. Cross vine. That's the only one I'm gonna say.
Yep.
And that's all we need to say. All right, we now have
Can I
another.
just chime in on that for a second?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I noticed a planting along a brand new, I guess they use some kind of fencing in between some businesses in East Nashville, and it looked like I want to say maybe 8 to 10 feet, they planted a crossvine.
Yes.
So I believe that that's what they're going to use to grow up that, it's like a trellis. I can't think of the name right now.
Trellis sounds good.
Yeah.
Trellis sounds great.
Well, it's that type of wood that, makes a
Lattice.
lattice. Thank you.
Yes.
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Earth Mix, featuring Garden Premium Topsoil Blend. This essential mix includes Tennessee subsoil, supernatural organic compost, humic acid, and mycorrhizal fungi to create a truly living soil. Garden topsoil is perfect for establishing raised, edible, and ornamental garden beds, as well as for planting trees, shrubs, and other landscape plants. Bulk and super sack options available. Visit earthmix.net to discover their entire line of soils and amendments and helpful blog posts. Success begins at the ground level when you use EarthMix garden products.
Colin is on YouTube.
Hey, Call.
He said
He better be.
He said over and over. I think it was a Crimson Clover reference. Very
There you go. Clever call.
You can strum that on your porch while you watch it grow.
But he's asking a question of Kev.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let me get the camera over there.
He's an insider now if he knows who Kev is.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Should milkweed, goldenrod, echinacea, hibiscus be cracking at this point with everything else starting to crack? Just getting nervous. Put me straight, Kev.
Okay. Hibiscus, maybe not yet. I've got one little bitty starting to come up. You have hibiscus, don't you? Is yours
No,
coming up?
mine died.
Well,
I'm not seeing mine come up, Austin.
No, my
Okay, yeah.
echinacea's up.
echinacea, probably. I mean, Colin, those things should be thinking about it.
Milkweed isn't quite up yet.
No, I haven't noticed milkweed yet.
Nope. Sleepy.
You said echinacea. What else did you say? Goldenrod.
Goldenrod.
Goldenrod should probably be thinking about it, I would assume.
Yep.
It's considering it.
Yeah.
It's saying, do
it
I
likes
want
it
to do
hot.
this?
It likes it hot.
Yeah,
though.
let's
So if
wait
you're not
until
seeing it
after
yet,
the
Colin,
eclipse.
just be patient.
Be patient.
Be
We
patient.
do have a lot of questions right now about it. This hasn't woken up yet. Is this okay? Y'all, it is early.
It is.
It is early. I have a lot of stuff that hasn't started cracking yet, but also a lot of stuff that's already blooming. So it's hard to know this time of year.
It is. It's a weird time.
It's a weird time. Speaking of weird times, push that button, Tyler.
Oh, well.
with Austin.
Hey, there it is. There's a lot in bloom. Okay, I had to actually write this down last night when I was thinking about it.
I actually tried to think of a couple here because I thought maybe I'll sneak one in that you haven't
I'm
noticed.
sure you could. There's going to be a number, I'm sure. So if y'all have anything out there blooming that I don't mention, let us know. All right, so the annuals, the pansies and the tulips, they're still going. Tulips just about done. Pansies are full show. Mine are gorgeous right now. Some of those perennials that are still going, creeping phlox, candy tuft, and woodland phlox. All three of those I talked about last week. Still going strong, looking great. Hey, a new one, our native columbine around here. That's showing off. That looks nice. Nice.
Oh, mine is stunning right now. I have a picture of it, but
Looks good. You also showed me a picture of your Dicentra, which is the common name bleeding heart. Everybody should grow bleeding heart. It is a beautiful shade-loving perennial. I love it. There's a golden variety out there that I grow, and it's
Is yours
super
blooming
cool.
yet?
Really?
Wow.
Yes, it is. Mine is blooming.
Yeah.
It's just starting. But I've got a chicken problem to come in and get my bleeding heart.
Oh,
They're
gosh.
so annoying. I told Caroline, I'm going to
Pecking
eat those
your
chickens.
Bleeding heart.
They just
Doing
peck at
that
it.
chicken picking.
They are. They're picking on that bleeding heart anyway. Okay, I'm good. I'm
Breathe,
good.
breathe.
All right.
It's okay.
Pulmonaria is in bloom, y'all. Do you know
That's
pulmonaria?
hilarious.
It's a little spotty, shady
Speaking of breathing.
plant, and it blooms blue and pink on the same plant.
So we
which
got
is
bleeding
odd.
hearts, we got pulmonary
Hearts and lungs.
Yes. Okay, and then hey, our state flower, the iris.
Yes.
It's in bloom. Okay, irises aren't necessarily for me, but a lot of people like them. If you do, love it. It's great. They're blooming. They look great. All right, shrubs. Hey, y'all, viburnums are really going right now. The
Blowing it
old
up.
Chinese snowball bush. Oh my God. It is fantastic right now. Pure white, round blooms. People think they're hydrangeas a lot of times. They're not. It's a viburnum.
Old-fashioned snowball.
Old-fashioned snowball showing off. Caroline's got one called Popcorn. Hers is popping.
And I have, I always say the name wrong, Birkwood.
The Birkwood viburnum. Yes, those are going as well, and fantastic. Some of them smell fantastic. The Korean spice viburnum, if you have that one, looking really good. Okay,
That one's mine.
All right, azaleas, y'all. You don't even notice azaleas. They look rough over the winter. They don't even care, and then all of a sudden they just explode. And then you've got this massive burst of energy and color atop of your shrub azaleas, and especially the deciduous azaleas.
Mine's about to pop. I saw it last night. It's not open yet. I'm going to get a photo when it does.
Okay.
I'm so excited.
Well, David, your wife yesterday sent a picture of a couple of deciduous azaleas in a friend's yard, and they're lit up. I mean, that orange, beautiful. Probably Mandarin Lights, maybe the cultivar. Thanks, Renee, for that pick, because that was awesome. I love deciduous azaleas. Everybody does. Hey, rhododendron are starting, okay? It's just the beginning. We've got some on the lot right now that are absolutely stunning, y'all. Fantastic. Okay, let's move to trees. Dogwoods, redbuds, crab apples, and apples. All of them. Y'all, dogwoods are money. I mean, when they're good, they're great. They're great all the time.
Kwanzaa and cherries are really kicking
that was the next one. Kwanzaa cherry, the double blooming pink one that blooms after the foliage comes out. It's a little bit different than normal cherries. They're beautiful. I really love a Kwanzaa, and they stay small. They're really a great tree for like a substitute for Bradford pear to line your driveway with. Oh, they're fantastic in that scenario.
Anything is a viable substitution.
There it is. And hey, a little cousin of the other cherry, the black cherry. That's our native cherries around here. Those are big and they are blooming. I've got one in the yard. It throws a mess over my concrete. It's annoying, but they're in bloom right now. And then hey, Caroline actually texted me this on the way home. She saw a purple blooming tree going in around the woods. It's a nasty kind of aggressive
Paulownia
tomentosa. David, you nailed it. Those are in full bloom. The Empress tree, they're called. Probably the fastest tree I have ever seen grow in my entire life.
Empress, Cara, Royal Paulownia. There's a whole list of, and they were introduced to the United States from China back in I think it was in the 1850s, and they were thought to be perhaps beneficial for making cabinets out of because it was so fast.
Yes. Boxes is what they were.
But it's the crappiest wood.
I tell you, yes, they're so fast.
And soft.
You do get a couple of weeks of flowers out of them.
And then they all fall all over the neighborhood.
They go to seed, yes. They are they're invasive.
And
they're very
really, the only thing that keeps them from being worse is that they do freeze out. They have they really get frozen down badly pretty easily, but not completely.
Not completely. They come right back. Hey, shout out Adam Chapman. Serviceberry's still going. GM Adam Chapman. Thank you, sir, for everything. And hey, a good native for around here that you don't even think about is in bloom are sassafras trees.
Oh,
little dainty, creamy yellow blooms atop of a gnarly kind of tree. They're in full bloom right now. And then shout out to my wife yesterday who was up in Clarksville. She said, "Hey, I saw this like rangy green shrub with this tiny little, not tiny, but like medium sized little yellow bloom." And I was trying to think like, what are you talking about? And then finally we figured it out. The old yellow rose of Texas, Caria japonica, a little rangy green yellow blooming plant. Is in bloom. Shout out Jilly. Thanks for that. And that is what is in bloom.
Here you go. I got this. Got this photo of the azalea.
Thanks, Renee.
So
that
pretty.
Renee took.
That was Renee Bates. Thank you.
And speaking of Renee Bates, and color, we're going to talk just quickly. Just remind everyone, April 25th through 28th. Chestnut Group and Bates Nursery and Garden Center, in support of Greenways for Nashville, is painting the greenways. I don't know if you can get the big screen up there.
Sure can.
There you go. With the maple twirling in front.
The spinning maple. I just love it.
Yeah. Lazy Susan.
So anyway, make sure you support that. It's coming up here near the end of the month. So we're just going to remind you about that briefly. Painting of greenways. Check that out at greenwaysfornashville.com or at chestnutgroup.org, and you can see all about that right there. And if you want to see some examples of great artistry in Nashville, you need to check it out for sure. So there you go.
All right.
Very good. Hey, Shaquille, we see you out there. Hey to you too. Donna Crowley wants to know, is Earthmix O good for use for containers?
Absolutely.
Tomato plants?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
well.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. And
I do it every year.
One of the great things that makes either O or garden, the big difference is that O is a little bit lighter mix.
Got a little bit more
is
aggregate, yeah.
It's just going to perk a little bit better. So it's should be better for containers. What they both have in them though is poultry manure that's been composted, and what you get with that is you get higher calcium levels, and particularly if you're growing tomato plants, that's always beneficial because blossom end rot's one of those things that'll be coming up and people will be having problems with. So there's plenty of calcium already in those where you don't have to add any. So you should not have that issue.
I do it every year with my cherries. I mean, it's just great.
There you go.
It's great.
'Cause I like to keep them a little bit more contained as much as you
Yeah,
possibly
and again,
can.
like I mentioned earlier, if you've there's nothing wrong with reusing the soil you have. However, there are pathogens that once they get introduced, you pretty much need to use it elsewhere and then refill them. If there's no issue with that, you can revitalize it using supernatural compost that'll do a great job. But there are pathogens that can get in soils. And I believe is it Brussels sprouts that transmits the blossom in. I mean, some other I mean, there are plants that you need to avoid growing together, and there are plants that do pretty well together. So anyway,
Very good.
be mindful.
Let's get to some more questions. We
Go.
got some live ones in. My serendipity alliums are suffering from black aphids. Noticed them in the fall, and they are back this spring. What is the best plan to address these pests?
Well, good news for you is aphids are pretty easy to kill, okay, with a number of different products. So, I mean,
And tell them about, they identify them as black aphids. Aphids are the color of whatever it is that they're feeding off of. So they could be red, it could be green, it could be black.
yeah, I mean,
I'm sure there are other colors, but
There are.
they're the
Pretty-
same thing, though.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I've read there's like 1,000 different species of aphid. Like, I don't know how someone ever came up with that number, but good
One,
Lord, yeah, seriously,
2,
they're tiny.
3.
But they're very easy to kill, okay? So if you have, whatever you have, even insecticidal soap does a pretty good job on if
Really
you want to be
good.
organic.
Yes.
Any of the synthetics, though, I mean, if you use a synthetic, you're going to kill aphids. So let's go ahead and get it going, though, because, one aphid turns to 10 and then 10 turns to 1,000. So,
Fast.
Yes, it's fast. So get on that quickly.
They are quick to multiply. Hey, we've got quite a few questions about crepe myrtle waking up. People are saying mine hasn't come back to life. Do I know that it's still alive? Is it normal?
Yes.
Yes.
This
They're
is the
still
most.
alive.
This is the most common mid-April question
Yes.
because even a month from now, they may only be beginning, and it has everything to do with how the weather tracks. And we've had a pretty cool run up into spring to this point.
Yep.
There's nothing to push them along. They are a hot weather plant.
Yes.
So patience.
Yes.
There may be tip damage on them. That's not unusual.
That's
but,
not unusual,
But
yeah.
wait and let the new growth start to emerge, then you'll be able to see where you need to trim it down to. At least 2. You can trim it further.
Yeah. And if it makes you feel better, mine hasn't started waking up
Nah,
yet.
mine
So,
hadn't either. And
mine
I've got
hasn't either.
natches in my yard, and I know they're fine.
Yeah.
But they're just dormant.
Yep.
They're sleeping. How often do you suggest fertilizing newly planted azaleas?
I mean, probably once or twice at least during the growing season. I mean, azaleas are heavy feeders, and it is nice to give them some fertilizer. So, do that and do it pretty much starting now.
Yep.
And yes, so yeah, like I said, 2 to 3 times during the growing season is probably fine. If you use organic products like our Hollytone,
It's all good.
it's all good. You ain't gonna hurt it, and
Yeah,
it's only gonna help.
Back in the day when there were so many chemical fertilizers used, it was a lot of what we know as ammoniacal nitrogen, ammonium nitrate. It really flashes that nitrogen fast. There were issues, and if you have that kind of fertilizer, don't put that on azaleas until after they flower, because you can stimulate new growth before the blooms get open. It'll just push the buds right off.
And don't
Oh,
mix it
that'd be
with
so
diesel
sad.
fuel either. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Hey, we got a second azalea question.
Oh wow.
Encore azalea, not thriving after 3 years in ground. Can it be revived?
Maybe. I mean, maybe it's the wrong spot. It's been 3 years. Like, if you're tired of looking at it for 3 years now and it's still not great, like, maybe a move is in order. Maybe you need to fertilize heavy. Send us some pictures. I want to look at it.
Not all Encore azaleas have equal hardiness either.
That's true.
So there are some that are decidedly more winter hardy than others. Autumn Rouge is the one that is, I think, the best. It gets bigger. That's why a lot of people don't like it. But it is the most reliable repeat bloomer, and it's the most reliable as far as winter hardiness goes. There are some types that are, I mean, we're in the marginal area on. So
Yeah.
that's just the way it is.
And also pruning techniques can really be helpful with azalea. So if yours is starting to get up and leggy or whatever, and it looks like that, like letting it bloom this spring and then giving that a nice trim back will hopefully bush that plant a little bit more and have tighter buds, and it'll be a tighter bloom.
They don't like wet feet either, do they?
Hate it.
Yeah. So
They've got a very fibrous root system. They need very, pretty good. That's why rhododendron and azaleas are kind of slow to take around here, is that heavy clay that we have.
Right.
So amending the soil with earth mix for sure is something you certainly need to do with
And
encores.
planting them on the high side.
Yes. Don't bury those stems ever. Really,
not
with
while
any
you're
plant.
high, on the high side.
Well, I mean,
side,
you
yeah.
want
Plant
that
them
root
high.
ball to be
Yeah.
at or slightly above the
Okay.
existing ground level.
Okay. Very good.
How about this? My
Not
Mugo
you
pine.
being on the high side. The plant.
Not you, Josh.
Okay.
My Mugo pine is totally brown and losing needles. The branches still feel firm, though. Is it a goner?
Totally brown.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoa.
Mine, so I've got one of the yellow Mugo pines, and the tips of mine are brown, and some of them like all the way down. But there's still a little bit of
what do you see? You see the candlesticks still? What we call candlesticks, the little pokey boys that are
those
up above.
the pokey boys. I still see the pokey boys.
Yeah, if you see those, that's where your new growth comes from. So as long as if you've got some candlesticks atop of the plant,
pokey
at least-
boys.
the pokey boys, leave those up, and it may be okay. I mean, I don't really like the word brown all over the plant. That doesn't sound good. But
At this point, you got nothing to lose by
Right.
waiting a little bit.
yeah, I mean,
So-
they're and yours haven't started cracking.
Mine have not my
Yeah.
Mugo pine. Now my now I can't think of what
Hugo's-
it is.
Hugo's, my Mugo is
Hugo, your
Hugo, the
Hugo.
Hugo, my Mugo.
a little inner. He's shedding a little bit on the inside, but other
that's
than that,
normal.
He's,
Yeah.
it's-
They're just
but
getting
not
ready
all-
like a butterfly.
But brown all
Caterpillar
over is
coming
not
out.
normal.
No.
Yeah. My that's what it is. My weeping cobra Norway spruce is starting to push out. Oh, it's so pretty.
Hey, that's funny you
It's
say that.
one of my favorite. It's not a flower, so I can't say that's my favorite flower, but it's one of my favorite plants in my landscaping. It is the gnarliest, coolest looking plant.
It is a cool plant. I love that plant. And this week at the nursery specifically, our spruce has started to crack. And whenever spruce cracks, it's got this two-tone effect, like all plants
Gorgeous.
do. But in the spruce world, it's really stunning. The
Yeah.
Norway spruces, the cobras, all of those.
My cobra is just twisty. It's a Isley plant that I got years and years ago, actually in our buck a gallon sale. It was looking sad when I got it, and I was like, I'm
No
going to take
more.
a chance.
Well, hey, tell them
It's still very weird looking, but
tell them what we kind of figured out the other day. The reason why they call it cobra, maybe. Remember you talked about
okay. So yeah, it'll grow up and then drop down with weight, and then once it matures, it'll grow back up. So it has all these gnarly arms. Look, I'm doing the robot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the robot. That's more like
no,
the
I wasn't a robot at all. That was way too fluid. A robot
the
is way more
snaky
rigid.
shimmy.
Wait, how
The
do you-
snake is what we're talking. It's called
snake,
cobra,
yeah.
so it kind of comes up. And
I got distracted by dancing. Yeah, it'll drop down and it'll come up like a little snake head.
Uh-huh.
Y'all, I'll get a picture of this. Everybody needs one in their
Yes, they
landscaping.
do.
hey, where
It
could
is
we get one
weird.
though?
Gardening Inside Out is brought to you by Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Spring is at our doorstep, and if your plans involve improving your landscape or starting a garden, then Bates Nursery is the essential place for what you need. They offer the largest selection of plants in the Southeast, from unique flowers and trees to tropicals, roses, houseplants, and native plants. Bates Nursery's 92 years of serving Nashville gives them unparalleled experience in stocking the plants that perform best for your home. Their friendly staff of horticulture experts are ready to assist you with your gardening needs. Located minutes from downtown Nashville in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee, just off Briley Parkway at exit 19. Shop inventory online before you visit at batesnursery.com. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Melissa says, missed y'all. I stopped by yesterday and the greenhouse is looking fab.
It's full.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
There's a
Melissa?
lot.
That's true.
Our Melissa?
Our
Melissa.
Melissa.
Well, she's
Melissa.
more or less her Melissa now.
She
but
is. She is. But
She's
she'll
still
always
our
be our
Melissa.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Melissa worked here for a decade, and we do miss her very much. She's a great lady and a wonderful horticulturalist in her own right, doing her own flower thing. And Mel's
Mel Mac.
Mel Mac
Mel Mac
Florist.
Florist,
Yeah, look her
Great
up on the
follow
internet.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Great.
She
Beautiful
gives a
stuff.
lot of good tips too. Not
Yep.
only does she make these gorgeous flower arrangements that she grows herself, but she gives a lot of tips on how to grow them, how to overwinter stuff. Dahlia, she's got like a 3-part video on that, I believe, on how to dig them up and overwinter them. So we've got a question about a magnolia. I planted a magnolia before the big freeze, and now they look terrible. What can I do to get them to flush?
You got to just wait. You got to just wait. Magnolias certainly took it this year. They did not like it. Those 0-degree temps. We talked about this last week with a teddy bear magnolia, and really any of the magnolias, especially a newly planted one, I'm sure look a little rough, like almost look even sick. We talked about that last week, how it resembles kind of a fungi. It's not. It just took cold damage. So we have to wait. Those leaves are going to shed, like David said last week. Once they shed, new growth cracks, and everything will be good. So just wait it out. There's nothing you can do to make it go faster, though.
Yeah, fertilizing won't hurt.
No, it never hurts.
And if you want to use like Hollytone, I mean, they are, they don't mind having a little lower pH. So if you've got that, I would apply it and,
Wait it out.
Never look back.
It'll be fine.
Hey, Tyler, you could probably answer this next question.
Oh, could I?
I cut down a dwarf banana tree in the fall, and it hasn't started new growth yet. Is it dead?
Okay, I was contemplating this one because I did see it as I was entering it this morning, and I'm wondering if it's the cold hardy variety. First of all,
That's a pertinent question.
because if they did not plant the Bosju, which is the one at least that I know,
or
is the most hardy,
Fargesia,
then it wouldn't come back no matter what you did. If you would have had to dug it up and put it in a pot,
you could have built a greenhouse structure and added extra heat.
specifically on top of it. Yes.
Yeah, that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Tyler, is
Now-
yours coming up yet?
Yeah. I've actually got the little stalks starting to come up, and they'll just come up through mulch or whatever you have. It is possible for some stumps to die out if they're exposed to enough cold, and I feel like they'll just like give up that and start a new one. But don't, because if that happens, don't think that it's completely dead. It might start pushing new banana pups, and you might see some new ones pop up around there. Because that's
Poppin'
how they,
pups.
So that's all
how
I
they
got
do.
for
I
you.
need to check my.
You could send us some photos if you like to see if I can try and identify that, or just wait
But
it
if
out.
it's dead,
It's not gonna happen.
Just take a picture.
It's just gonna be dirt.
Just take a picture of dirt anywhere. and that'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh my!
All right. Is it too early for Boston Kimberly Queen ferns to go in planters?
It's about time.
It's about, I'd say it's
Getting
maybe a
close.
little bit early. If you're going to plant it in like a really heavy planter, I would wait just in case we've got a big drop that's coming.
I would suggest, and right now, and this sounds like I'm trying to upsell somebody, particularly if you're wanting to plant smaller ones, even if you don't plant them now, you ought to get them and have them ready to plant a little bit later because they tend to blow out of here. And we've got a bunch right now, but they won't last.
They won't.
No.
And they always, and I'm doing kind of the same thing David did. I'm not trying to get you to come buy them right away, but I feel like our early shipments are always huge and full and gorgeous, and they get a little bit smaller.
That's just the way it is.
With each truck that comes in.
Yep.
Well, they're going in planters though, y'all. Like, this week looks great for weather. Like, you can go ahead and have them on your porch. If you need to move them in, move them in.
I will say, I think they would be fine. I
think
put,
so.
Yeah, I put tiger ferns on my porch a couple of years.
I mean, they're pretty tough.
and they lasted into
Yes.
the 20s.
Yeah, I was
they
about to
didn't
say, they
take
can
any
get
kind
cold.
of damage.
I'm
Granted, my
hoping
porch
we
is
don't-
covered.
I'm hoping the 20s are done.
Done. I hope so, but I think it would be fine to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we've got the best selection, like you said earlier. Like, they look picture perfect. Y'all.
I mean,
I'm good
we've got
sign.
some 12-inch hanging basket Boston ferns, and they are huge. I don't know if I've ever seen.
They
Probably
look
the
like-
largest
they
we've
look
had.
Like, they look like they've
since-
been stamped out of a mold. They're so consistent.
perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, you can blindfolded just grab any
It's-
of them. They're all the same.
We've all been saying this, but K&M is our big tropical annual truck. It's a full semi that we get in. We actually got more than a full semi this year, which is why we got a second truck yesterday. But this year is the best it's ever looked since I've been here. It's my 5th season here, and everything looks so good, huge and clean.
Yeah.
And I just want to buy everything.
Well, and that helps that we have the facilities that we have
Yep.
to take care of things because we can stretch the boundaries a little bit and have them in a protected environment. Because if you don't get the early shipments, like you were just saying, Caroline, the next shipment won't be quite as much. They're allowing for growing that hasn't occurred just yet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're getting the the oldest crop, which means they're the most mature and the best looking.
There you go.
Get on out here. All right. Evergreen perennial that changes color in fall for a pot on a covered porch. My Abelia died.
Wow.
Evergreen perennial.
That changes color in the fall. That one's a little bit tricky because
It have
most
to be a
things that change
conifer of some
color.
sort, right?
Well, now it seems like it'd be more of a deciduous plant that like drops, that
Changes
will
color.
drop its leaves after it changes color.
Maybe like
That's a hard
Itea,
question to
maybe.
interpret.
I thought Itea. That was the first thing I went to. That's got really good fall color. Had a customer yesterday wanting burning bush. That goes blood red, and
That does.
that's kind of a weird plant for a pot.
pot.
But hey,
It would live.
it would live. Yeah, you
If
can't
it
kill
Live
that.
in the neighbor's yard and down the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
Crossvine on a trellis.
Crossvine on a trellis.
Crossvine on a trellis.
Or lattice.
Father Gila. Father Gila. I know Tyler loves
but
his
that's
Father Gila.
deciduous.
Not
though.
evergreen.
I know, but
That's
what,
the hard
what's
part is
evergreen
the-
that changes color
Well,
besides like
crossvine.
arborvitae?
What about
Crossvine
what
turns
about
purple.
heuchera? It doesn't quite change color. But,
It doesn't change
but
color.
it is color.
But they want it to be evergreen and change
Yeah.
and
color?
change color? That's just,
That'd
that's
be a
just
juniper
That one's
road,
tricky.
yeah.
tricky
It's like-
people.
Does nature do that?
It's
Yeah,
like
I mean, it
pick
does for,
two
like-
out of the three.
It does for like arborvitae, but it goes like this bronzy, ugly. I'm not sure if it's dead color. So you could go that route.
Yeah,
you
it
want
doesn't really have
uncertainty.
good fall color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, is it time to cut trim butterfly bush?
You probably could have already done it, but I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get it done now.
Go
I'm
Leash.
assuming it's leafing out,
Yeah.
probably. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just
Not-
cracking. But
Not going to hurt.
Not
I like
hurt.
I like waiting as late as possible.
We finally got our Annabelle hydrangeas cut back sufficiently. I mean, down to a stub, which
Yeah.
is the way I like them.
Good.
That's that opinion is not widely held in my particular home, but this time we trimmed them.
So, you got some you got a little influence around
I
there.
just expressed a horticultural opinion. Anyway.
My Incredibles that I cut back. I go a little bit higher than what you did, Dave, but not much. I mean, like maybe that high off the ground. They're leafing from the sticks, leafing from the dirt. I mean, they're looking good right now.
Mine
That's
are
really
coming
what
up,
I
too.
like. I like getting them down low enough where at least every 2 or 3 years, where that you really get a lot of those basal breaks
Yeah.
that you wouldn't get otherwise, and it becomes a mass.
A shrub, yes, it's good. It's a good way to do it.
I can't wait for mine to bloom. Hey, let's talk about butterfly bush since we've already touched on it a little bit. Butterfly bush is growing crinkly leaves, and then they ask, is it root rot? Crinkly leaves sounds weird, not like root rot. But.
I wonder, crinkly leaves could sometimes refer to like a Roundup application that maybe you
It's
got.
too early for thrips.
It's too early for thrips, and the aphids would make some crinkly a little bit. Maybe you might have that. Check your plant, backsides of the leaves for sure. And then if you have applied Roundup around the area, that could be a thing because that can make
Little
weird
drift,
stuff happen. So be careful with your Roundup always. But hey, send us pictures. I want to look at it at least, and then I'll call you.
And the place to send those pictures is gardeninginsideout@gmail.com. Send in pictures of problems, of things you're proud of.
at gmail.com. That's
It's
the way
right.
we do it in the broadcast world, not as
Right
fast
there
as
on
you
the
can
screen.
read it.
Well, Tyler's got it up right there. But again, you can send problematic
copy and
photos.
paste
You
it,
can
yeah.
send photos of your garden that you're proud of. We will reshare on our social media and on the broadcast. So send away. All right, best organic bug killer for white grub borers in bottom of soil beneath raised beds.
Wow.
Grub borers.
Diatomaceous earth, maybe?
That or well, if it's white grubs, it's probably Japanese beetle larvae, I would assume.
Yeah.
So milky spore is
Oh,
good.
the
maybe
worst.
before, yeah.
The reason why I no longer want to grow cannas.
Might also be cicadas.
They're coming soon.
Cicada plagues.
We'll be talking a lot more about that one.
Yeah,
And,
I'm
you know,
sure.
We
somehow
have to soundproof
we have
the
burned
studio.
through this hour.
Wow.
Crazy.
Renee wanted to thank Burdell Campbell for growing the most beautiful deciduous yellow azalea in Germantown and letting us share it. It was spectacular.
And you know what?
Really good.
I love the last little sign in her garden. It says, "Warning: trespassers will be composted."
Whoa, very good.
Sounds like a threat to weeds to me.
Hey, everybody be safe. We got to get out of here because it's going to get busy around here at the nursery today. And we got things to
Absolutely,
do.
and got a sort of an eclipse on on Monday. Not total
Do not
here.
look at it straight in the face.
No.
No. It's gonna be
probably
cloudy
gonna be,
anyway.
Yeah, probably. So that's the
But
way
hey,
it goes.
we'll come back next Saturday morning for another hour of Gardening Inside Out. Let the whole world know about it. Tell your
Sure.
friends, tell the neighbors, shake the dog when we'll be here for you. See you next week.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.